1. But this is the problem here. Even when you get understanding. 8 and 1. Go ahead.
Now as touching things offered unto idols, we know that we all have knowledge. Knowledge puffeth up, but charity edifieth.
See, he said we all got knowledge. So a bunch of us can have knowledge, right? We all can have knowledge. As touching things offered to idols, we know that we all have knowledge. But then he told you something about knowledge. Knowledge puffeth up, but charity edifies. So you got to remember kind of what the assignment is. People forget what the assignment is. You could get carried away with having some knowledge, even in the truth. That's what we're talking to people in the truth. You get carried away. So you got some knowledge. Now before you know it, I've seen it countless times. You get somebody, hey, they know more than everybody. And you can see how they go about it. Just arrogant. But it was already there. It was just hidden. It was just silent, but it was there. That's why the title is Pride, the Silent Killer, because it's going to get you killed. Knowledge puffeth up, but charity edifies. So you got to remember what the assignment is. It ain't just to show you know something or know you know more than somebody else. It's all about helping somebody. Verse 2.
And if any man think that he knoweth anything, he knoweth nothing, yet as he ought to know.
Now notice what he said there, and let's kind of go back to what I just was saying. He said, if any man think, this is just thinking, that he knoweth anything, he knoweth nothing yet as he ought to know. So what do you mean by that? Again, obviously you think you know something. But again, when you get full of pride, you start taking that too far. You start taking it. So he's really focusing on arrogant because he writing a letter. He think he know enough to write a letter and tell people about this, right?
Right.
He think he know enough to do that. But when you kind of think you above everybody and you see that arrogancy sprout, that's what he getting into. He said, if any man think that he knoweth anything, he knoweth nothing yet as he ought to know. But now, go to 1 Timothy 3. He even show you a lot of times how it manifests. First Timothy 3. Pick it up at verse 1, and we're going to skip to save a little time. 1 Timothy 3 and 1. Go ahead.
This is a true saying. If a man desire the office of a bishop, he desire for good work.
Okay, so being a bishop or a leader. So we're talking about people that's in the word, in the truth. Being a bishop or a leader in that capacity, there's nothing wrong with that. That's good. Even what he said, to desire it, right?
Right.
But you need criteria to even get the job. But he said it's a true saying, if a man desire the office of a bishop, he desired a good work. But since we're talking about one thing, we're going to skip down to what you shouldn't be. Verse 6, go ahead.
Not a novice.
So he's talking about a bishop can't be a novice. A novice is a beginner. And that will, because being a novice will set that person up. He said, not a novice, lest what?
Lest being lifted up with pride, he fall into the condemnation of the devil.
So he's telling you, you can't be fresh out the gate, because being lifted up with what we talking about tonight, with pride, he fall into the condemnation of the devil. So, hey, you need to, before you really try to start running something, running with the ball, hey, you need to come to practice enough. You know, that's what he's letting you know. You don't need to get out there and try to, I'm supposed to be starting. And you get out there and run the wrong way on the football field. Go back to Proverbs 13. So now we're going to kind of look at little examples of it, because eventually it's going to come out, but it all starts in the heart, in the mind, in how you thinking. That's where it all starts. That's what pride is about. You're looking at things the wrong way. Think you know more than everybody. Start thinking you better than everybody. That's why I understand my namesake Elijah in the Bible. He went to the Lord. He went to the Lord on 40 days. He fasted 40 days and 40 nights. And he went to Mount Horeb after he had these prophets killed who was lying. And he was just feeling like, like ain't no end to this madness. Like these prophets, that lying to people, got people all messed up. I just killed 400 of them. And now Jezebel was threatening to kill him, so it wasn't no end. So he was like, but he said at one point, he said, Lord, I ain't no better than my fathers. Like, I understand, because you be thinking like, hey, I'm going to show somebody how to do it. We going to do it right. But still, hey, people before you done did it right. So it ain't no different. It's still going to be a problem, regardless. You got to be able to deal with that. But look at where we at, Proverbs 13, verse 10, because you will see how pride manifests itself, being that it start off, it's the silent killer. Nobody don't even know about it yet. It just seemed like maybe a demeanor. It might seem like a demeanor at first. No, it's a bad demeanor. But this one you're going to know it. Proverbs 13, read that one verse, verse 10. Go ahead and read it. Go ahead.
Only by pride cometh contention. But with the well-advised is wisdom.
Now pay attention to that this is the only way this happened. He said, only by pride cometh contention. So whenever there's some contention, there's definitely some pride involved. Because it don't have to be. It don't have to be. So we have to understand that, first of all. And then what'll happen, like he said, with the well-advised. Read that end part again. Only by pride coming contention, but what?
With the well-advised is wisdom.
But with the well-advised is wisdom, right? Yes, so let's see, we got some contention. That happens, right? We got some contention. Two people disputing. It's really going to come out because the Lord got somebody well-advised that will solve the contention. And then it should be over. But when pride there, it's not going to be over. It's going to keep going. So let's look at an example. This is why the Lord had this written. Deuteronomy 17. But keep in mind, he said, only by pride cometh contention. See, this when the silent killer going to manifest itself, it's going to be some contention. And sometimes we look at contention where it's just, it's just two people that they got to disagree, man. Both of them could be wrong, both of them could be right. No, generally, somebody is the problem in the contention. It's not just kind of equal opportunity. Right. It generally don't work like that. And that's why the Lord had a way to bring resolution. Somebody well advised. But only by pride. That's the only way you got some contention, brothers. Husband and wife contending about some stuff. Hey, it's some pride involved. Two brothers contending about it's some pride. Two sisters, it's some pride involved. Only by pride cometh contention. This is why years ago I started doing this, had to meet with people because I know how it go. have to meet with people about issues that they have, and I started reading this before the meeting because I know how it's going to go. You know, of course, again, go back to everybody think they right. But obviously, it's probably somebody right and somebody wrong. There's not many cases where it's just equal, problem, culpability. Maybe later on somebody else did something else and retaliated, but it still started somewhere. So this is why the Lord got this in here, brothers and sisters. Deuteronomy 17, because the Lord is not naive to think we ain't going to have no problem, we ain't going to have no contentions, stuff won't rise, but he got a way to put it to bed, to dispel it. But when there's pride involved, hey, that's when it's going to manifest. They're not going to want to end it because they want to be right no matter what. And that's a recipe for death. 17:8, go ahead.
If there arise a matter too hard for thee in judgment, between blood and blood, between plea and plea, and between stroke and stroke, being matters of controversy within thy gates, then shalt thou arise, get thee up into the place which the Lord thy God shall choose. And thou shalt come unto the priests, the Levites, and unto the judge that shall be in those days, and inquire. And they shall shew thee the sentence of judgment.
Okay, so now, the Lord just don't leave no stone unturned, do he? He got it spelled out to the max, down to the details. He said, we got some issues. If there arise an issue, because he know it's going to happen, Israel spread all over the place. Now, they had leaders in the places that they were at. But maybe this is over their head. Kind of like Moses set it up. If you go back to Deuteronomy, the first chapter, he put leaders over the people. And everybody's not capable of leading the same amount or got the same ability. And everybody got to be satisfied with what the Lord got them dealing with. So what I mean by that is when you read Deuteronomy 1, he had captains of 10s. Well, you just over 10. Captains of 50s, captains of 100. So it's degrees, as we say, it's levels to it. Okay? So that's first off. And everybody got to, operate in their position and not want to be proud and be more than they capable of as well. So, but he told them, he said, look, y'all handle these matters. And if it's too hard, then, hey, you bring it to me. Because Moses was trying to handle all of it. He was like, yeah, he realized that was a bit much. So that's what we've got here. It's a matter too hard for thee. This is even beyond, this show you it's bigger than Moses because he's taking it beyond Moses. You in the land. So they wasn't in the land yet, but he's talking in the future once they got to the land. So it's bigger than Moses because the Lord always going to have somebody who he got. If he got his word on the scene, he got somebody that can handle things. Like Paul told the Corinthians. He said, look, and we probably read that in tomorrow's lesson. He said, look, y'all, we supposed to be, we getting ready to be God. We getting ready to judge angels. Y'all can't handle this stuff. You should be able to handle these matters. Instead of, in that case, they was going to the circuit court. Suing somebody. Saints was doing that. So this is the way the Lord had it set up so you don't have to do that. But it's always some pride will come in and the Lord know that. So he said, if matter too hard in judgment, whatever it is, he said, he laid out in blood, between blood and blood, plea and plea, some type of grievance, stroke and stroke, matters of controversy in your gates. Then you go to basically the headquarters. And you come to the priests or the Levites, whoever the judge is in those days, and the Lord said, look, I got them. Somebody got some understanding. I got them there. They're going to show you the sentence of the judgment. Did you read 10?
No.
Read 10.
And thou shalt do according to the sentence, which they of that place which the Lord shall choose shall shew thee.
See, you got to follow the protocol because it's an order, right? So
Right.
you're going to do according to the sin. This is how you're going to keep down contention and controversies. The Lord got a remedy for it. But everybody got to play according to the same rules. So you're going to do according to the sentence which they of that place, which the Lord shall choose, shall show thee. Go ahead.
And thou shalt observe to do according to all that they inform thee.
Now pay attention, brothers and sisters. Obviously, we got an issue here. This is an example of some controversy or some contention. We read already, only by pride coming contention, right? So we already got some contention, but we don't know what's going on. We're trying to get to the bottom of it. So we're going to see what somebody that has more understanding than us say about it. In this situation, he said, just do according to the sin. So what I'm saying is, obviously, we ain't got nobody that's about to get stoned in this case, right? You know, it's just, okay, just follow the sin. We're going to see they ain't about to get stoned because they're going to behave a certain way that's going to get them stoned. So they was okay. They just wasn't right. But the problem is, people have a hard time not being right. So he said, but he's stressing at verse 10, he said, you're going to do according to the sentence which they of that place show you, whatever it is. Thou shalt observe to do according to that. Therefore, now again, I've done this. I've had people come with disputes, minor disputes, real easy for me to look at and see, but they going back and forth. And they dealing with it. And I say, yeah, well, you know, it looked like these people right. I'm talking about, I done had groups of people, families. These people right, y'all wrong. These people over here is mad. They mad, no. A lot of times they won't say nothing then. They'll leave and go saying, that wasn't right, Brother Elijah wasn't right. I ain't got no reason to, you know, really it was easy too. And I ain't got no reason to say they right and you wrong, because there's nobody paying me nothing. I ain't got no reason to do that. But again, that's just the nature of the beast. But that's why he said you do. And again, in this case, one case I'm thinking about in particular years ago, nothing is happening. You ain't getting ready to go to jail. You ain't in no big trouble. Just stay out of their business. That's really what it was. That's their house. Stay out of their business. I know y'all halfway related, but stay out of their business. That's their house. They do how their house, how they want to do their house. Y'all over there. So that's all it was. Brother Elijah didn't know what he was talking about. He shouldn't have said that. But this is what he told you don't do. Verse 11.
According to the sentence of the law, which they shall teach thee, and according to the judgment which they shall tell thee, thou shalt do. Thou shalt not decline from the sentence which they shall shew thee, to the right hand nor to the left.
He keep telling you, keep emphasizing, you're going to go with what they say. You evidently went there for that reason. You couldn't solve it yourself. There was some contention, which means there was some pride involved, and then it all come out in the wash, because you see who is the orchestrator of the pride, who has the pride, if you don't want to go along with it. You can see that. Even you're going to see it even if you don't go along with it, because when it's found out, yeah, that was a mistake on your part, y'all was wrong. So you had some pride to even bring it to this point. Right. And matter of fact, a lot of times the one instigating, like the people that's talking about, let's go talk to Brother Elijah. Let's go, come on. Let's go talk to Brother Elijah. Them usually the people that's wrong. Them usually the ones that's wrong. And when Brother Elijah tell them that, they don't want to hear it. So he keeps stressing, you're not going to decline from the sins. Verse 12.
And the man that will do presumptuously, and will not hearken unto the priest that standeth to minister, there before the Lord thy God, or unto the judge, even that man shall die.
Now somebody got to die. Yep. That's a silent killer, isn't it? Yes, somebody got to die needlessly. But it's not needlessly because they was on their way already. That's why it's a problem in the first place, and they ain't going to let the problem die down. They ain't going to let it die down. So that's why he put it in here. Because it's only by pride coming contention in the first place, and this person going to keep the pride. Instead of humbling themselves, they going to keep it going. They not going to let up. They going to keep it going. They'll be ready to burn the house down before they take being wrong. And that's why the Lord going to kill them. He said, and the man that will do presumptuously and will not hearken unto the priest that standeth to minister there before the Lord thy God, or unto the judge, even that man shall die. And what?
And thou shalt put away the evil from Israel.
Put away. Now, what kind of evil was that? That wasn't even, we don't know what the, it's general controversy, dispute. But the evil was you didn't want to listen to the verdict. You didn't want to listen to it. 13.
And all the people shall hear and fear and do no more presumptuously.
Okay, let's go to the New Testament. Because it don't change. See, the Lord's program keep going. Matthew 18. His program keep operating. Matthew 18, and we're going to pick it up at verse 1. Matthew 18 and verse 1. Go ahead, read it.
At the same time came the disciples unto Jesus, saying, who is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven? And Jesus called the little child unto him, and set him in the midst of them, and said, verily I say unto you, except you be converted and become as little children, ye shall not enter into the kingdom of heaven. Whosoever therefore shall humble himself as this little child, the same is greatest in the kingdom of heaven.
Okay, so now, Jesus had to kind of break the disciples down. He told them more plainly in another place, don't get caught up on that. Because they was caught up on pride. See, anybody can get caught up on pride. But you have to repent from it, when you put on notice with it. So now here's Jesus' own disciples. They ain't got nothing else to do but argue, well, who the great? They talking about themselves. So they all arguing about, who the greatest in the kingdom. So they got their mind. And that's natural for flesh. That's natural for flesh. I remember thinking a certain way when I was getting involved in the ministry. I was under my teacher and helping out in the ministry. I remember and doing, start doing more and more. I remember thinking a certain way like, yeah, I'm the man next to the man. I ain't lying. I remember thinking that. I had to wake up from that because you get beside yourself. So, well, that's what they was doing. They talking about who is the greatest in the kingdom about one of themselves. Jesus threw him a curve and put a little child up there and said, hey, this the one greatest in the kingdom. You better be converted. Except you be converted and come as a little child. That means get rid of that pride, that silent killer. You ain't going to get in the kingdom. Then he said, whosoever shall humble himself. That means you done got rid of that pride. You worried about who the greatest, something that's unimportant. Hey, you going to be happy with whatever the Lord give you in the final analysis. That's what I said to the Lord a long time ago. I said, I don't care what you give me, just don't give me that. Fire. Just don't give me that. Whosoever therefore shall humble himself become as a little child. So it's all about humility, the absence of pride, getting rid of that pride, which is going to get you killed. It start and it'll fester, it'll grow to you all outdoors, and now you on death's doorstep. Skip down now to verse 15 and go ahead.
Moreover, if thy brother shall trespass against thee, go and tell him his fault between thee and him alone. If he shall hear thee, thou hast gained thy brother.
See, now, really, this is a repeat. It's an actual repeat, almost verbatim to a degree of Deuteronomy 17. Except it's showing that, of course, it's showing it from a little different perspective that we got an offender here. See, in Deuteronomy 17, it just said it was a dispute. But obviously somebody wrong. Only by pride coming contention, and generally you got to have an original culprit. Both people ain't mess up at the same time together. No, you got an original, you got a culprit. Somebody wrong. So even though it was, but they obviously, nobody didn't want to admit to being wrong, so they had to go all the way to get some counsel on it, right? Get some counsel on it. So here we see if your brother trespass against you, he talking to the one that's been trespassed against, telling them how to handle it. He said, you go tell your brother, if he hear thee, thou gain thy brother. But obviously that might not work. 16.
But if he will not hear thee, then take with thee 1 or 2 more, that in the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses, every word may be established.
Okay, so you're going to try to solve it by getting some witnesses that can recognize this is a problem. See, and this is how we supposed to do stuff to this day. That's why I said me and a brother, hey, we talked to a brother and was explaining some stuff to him. And I didn't pay attention to it because I know how it go. But the other brother, we was walking out the office, the other brother said, yeah, he had that look. He had that look like he ain't listening to nothing. But see, when you understand, to me, it's just a formality. I would hope somebody hear, but I already know that it's a chance they don't, and it's stages to it. So he said, but if he would not hear thee, take with thee 1 or 2 more, that in the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses every word should be said. Now, why the Lord? The Lord going through all these remedies to deal with contention, which only come by pride. Yep. So if we check the pride at the door, we're not even dealing with this. And people that get their pride meter in order, they won't be dealing with this. They won't be on the end of that. But now, 17, because it keep on going. Eventually, it's going to get to where you go to the judges and them people in those days, like in Deuteronomy 17. Go ahead, verse 17.
And if he shall neglect to hear them.
Now look, he neglected to hear the one person told him, and then obviously the other couple of witnesses, 1 or 2, recognized that he had a problem. They told him, they said, yeah, that's a problem. He neglected to hear them. So that's all pride. See, but it's just now manifesting itself, but it had to be there. It was in the mind already. The incident just showed it, just brought it out. It just manifested. It was there all along. It's a silent killer. He said, and if he neglect to hear them, tell it what?
Tell it unto the church.
Go ahead. That's really the leadership. Just like it ain't no different from Deuteronomy. Just like he did in those days. You went to the leadership somewhere that had some understanding, and they would deal with it. Now, you're gonna take it to that level. Go ahead.
But if he neglect to hear the church, let him be unto thee as a heathen man and a publican.
See, that's some tough love right there, but this coming from Jesus. See, Jesus telling you how to handle situations. He telling you how to get rid of the proud, those that's full of pride, how to deal with it. He said, tell it unto the church, and if he neglect to hear the church, let him be unto thee as a heathen man and a publican. Why? Because, hey, he gonna keep stirring up contention. He gonna keep, his pride is gonna keep pushing him to make mockery of what the Lord is doing. And the Lord already told you what's going to happen in Deuteronomy 17. He said if he neglect to and continue to operate presumptuously, he shall die. That's why I call it pride the silent killer, because it started off with you just thinking wrong, and you didn't get your thinking together.